be yourself. This for me was one of the hardest things to achieve, because being in a world that's surrounded by so much judgment, you just want to fit in. And that was my issue. I felt like I could never fit in. And I remember this all starts from things that give you that insecurity. So for me, it was when I was growing up in a Chinese shop, and a lot of the time it started off with that insecurity. I felt like I couldn't be liked, and I think that translated as I was growing up, and I just wanted it to be approved by everyone. I wanted everyone's approval, and I just used to follow, just go with the flow everywhere. If this person wanted to do that, Brandon, let's do this, let's go do that. Let's do this, let's do that. And I used to follow everyone just to make sure that I kept them happy. Even if I didn't want to do something, I would force myself to do it just so they could view me as a friend, or they could view me as, yeah, we like Brandon. Now I see it as that, but before, when I was there, I didn't really understand why I was doing it, but I always had to say yes. I couldn't say no. And that was an issue, because in reality there was things that I didn't want to do, and I couldn't say it. I couldn't say it because I was embarrassed in case, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? Are they going to judge me? What are they going to think of me? And then I would always I'll always end up doing things that everyone else wanted to do apart from me. And the truth is I see it as that now, but when you're in the situation, you don't understand what's actually going on. But the way you ask yourself is, am I truly happy with what I'm currently doing? So that happened to me throughout many years, and even till this day, is some things that I have to keep in check. Understand that your problems never go. Your problems are always there. Your problems linger. Your problems linger. So every time that I wake up, I have those underlying issues that try to come up. So you need to imagine them as dormant. Something that never actually goes away. It goes to sleep. How do you make it go to sleep? You work on your confidence. How do you work on your confidence? You work on your discipline. How do you work on your discipline? You say you're going to do something, you end up doing it. Yet you need to build more trust with yourself. And that very thing that you don't want to do, doing it will give you the thing that you want. And that was something that I struggled with hard. It took me a long time to realize. It took me a long time to realize that one. And fast forward now, when I started doing social media, for example, I started doing social media full time. Well, not full time. I started to do social media and really push myself was roughly around 4 years ago. So 4 years ago I started to do social media, but the reason I started social media was because at that time I was going through a dark period of my life. I was going through a very alone patch. So I felt very alone. I felt like I couldn't express myself. I felt like I didn't have a voice. So what did I do? I opened this Instagram page and I made captions. So I posted my fitness content and I posted captions. But in these captions, they were messages to myself. These were messages of encouragement to myself, which was encouraging others. And I realized that when it had encouraged other people, it encouraged me, because I was like, I'm not alone and there's people that are benefiting from this. So I continued going. So already growing up in South London, there's a lot of people that put a lot of judgment on you. A lot of people that hate, as I say. And the way I view hate is people that gave up on that same thing that you want to do. So people actually want to do what you're doing, but they hate on it because they won't go ahead and do what you're doing because they're scared of being judged as well. You need to understand that sometimes we portray the other human as someone that is this perfect person that doesn't get hurt, that has everything right, but in reality, they go through their own stuff as well. There's a word called sonder. Sonder is a word that basically means that everyone has an in-depth reality of their own. So sometimes we think that we only have our own problems, but each person you see has their own crazy world going on. They've got problems going on as well. They've got these things going on. And that thing made me realize as well that people go through their own problems as well. So I said to myself, if this person's going through the same thing as me, so at some point they might be thinking like me. And at one point I just had to gather up courage when I was tired of just doing things I didn't want to do. And I had to force myself to say no, because in my head, the way I would convince myself, I would tell myself, if this person doesn't respect my viewpoint, then should I really care about what they think? Is this person really my friend? And I remember the first time I said it, I used to get very anxious because I'm thinking, all right, this is the way this person's going to react. This is they're not gonna like me. But if they don't like me, then they never liked me in the first place. No. And then as soon as I said it, okay, Brandon, it was fine. So we suffer a lot more in this imaginary reality than in what's happening in real life. So going back to the point I was saying, social media. So when I started social media, I know there was a lot of people just seeing what I'm doing and questioning it and saying, oh look, he's posting now. And I know this was happening. I'm aware of this. And then I started to continue doing my content. Then I finally started doing TikTok. Fast forward maybe like 2-3 years now of consistently doing content on social media. And while I was doing social media content, I think in like 3 years or 2 years, I forgot how long it was, I had like 4,000 followers. I did have a small sponsorship with a clothing brand. Shout out TLF for believing in me from the start. They sponsored me, but I know people were still being very judgmental because the way I was running this account was as if I had 200,000 followers. I was very with doing this, and I didn't care. But the reason why I didn't care is because I decided to detach or remove myself from any situation that could cloud my judgment. So I was a very sensitive person to hate, or very sensitive to comments, because I was a very insecure person. But then I got to a point where I was tired of being a prisoner to myself. So I said, you know what, I've had enough, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I don't care what people think, I'm going to try. What is the worst that can happen? They're going to laugh. What's going to happen after that? They're going to speak. Then what's going to happen after that? They're going to speak a bit more. Then what's going to happen after that? Then that's it. You need to keep on asking yourself, and after that, and after that, and then after that there's nothing. So try and do that very thing that you want to do. You want to post a video. You want to start doing podcasts, do podcasts. And then going back to the social media, I go off track, that's how my brain works. So I decided to do TikTok. And then I remember when the TikTok first started up, even I myself said, this is a cringe app, I can't believe I'm on this TikTok. And then I started posting fitness content. Fitness content was going slow. I had my first video that hit 750,000, and that was insane. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing fitness content. Then I started doing fitness content, but it wasn't working. I was getting maybe like 2,000 likes, 2,000 views, 400 views. It was very, very slow. I think I had maybe like 150 followers on TikTok. Then I met up with a friend who was doing TikTok. He at that time had maybe like 100,000 followers on TikTok. And he had invited me to go shoot some content. He said, come join me, let's go to Camden. I'm doing a little food post, I'll bring you in. Let's do this video. Brought me onto this video, and the intro was, have you ever met a Chinese Colombian, or British Chinese Colombian? And when he posted it, it went viral. So it went viral, and there was a lot of comments saying British Chinese Colombian, British Chinese Colombian. So there was this key word, Chinese Colombian, Chinese Colombian, Chinese Colombian, Chinese Colombian, Chinese Colombian. So when I saw that, I said there's a gap in the market. Let me try this out. So I'd done a video myself, ranting, talking about my dad's Chinese and my mom is Colombian. I'd done this video and it went viral. So I had hit 2 million views on this video and it had gone crazy. And I was thinking, yo, this is crazy. How did this video just go viral like this? And then I done it again. It hit 1 million views. Then I done it again and it hit maybe like 700,000 views. And I was going to do it again. And then when I was going to post it again, I remember asking my family, I was like, I want to post this video. And out of love, they do it all to protect you. And this is the thing, sometimes people will tell you good things to protect you, but at the end of the day, you need to listen to your conscience and do what you think is right. Because at the end of the day, you will never know what would happen if you do that thing that you want to do. So I remember my niece, a lot of love for her, she said, if I'm tired of watching this, the internet must be tired of watching it. And then I remember seeing a few comments. So I used to get maybe like 4,000 comments. A lot of them was just pure love, like, yo, Chinese Colombians is sick. And I'd have maybe like 2 negative comments. And my head would be so focused and stuck on these 2 negative comments. And it would affect me, and it would just cloud my judgment. Should I post it? Should I not? Should I not? I remember recording this video. And I was there at my sister's house, and she said, no, don't post it. What did I do? I'm stubborn, or call it just, I like taking risks, or I'm just, it works for me. I posted it. I put my phone down, and now I pick my phone up after an hour, and that video has just touched 1 million views. I was like, this is crazy. I've just hit 1 million views. And after hitting 1 million views, the day went by, and literally for around a week, it just kept on hitting 1 million views every single day. So the first day it probably had like 5 million views, then 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million. So that video averaged to nearly 22 million views. So when I started doing that, I kept on posting the same video, Chinese Colombian, and I remember there was a lot of noise. Why are you posting the same thing? People that I knew was just saying, oh, this guy keeps, this is the only thing that he's posting. And this is the hard part of being yourself, because sometimes you're scared to act the way you want to act to now impress people, and that's what I ended up doing. So now, because I was this Chinese Colombian, I just went viral on TikTok. It was just a season I went just viral. So I tried to live this facade of, okay, now I think I'm like this, and it got to my head. And understand that when I was young, I got no attention. So in terms of female attention, I didn't get any female attention, and I was very insecure as a kid. So when I did get to the end of secondary school, I must have been around 13, I got like my first ever compliment, and I didn't know how to take it because I had never got compliments before. So going up to college, when I started to realize now that I see the situation, I started to get female attention. But I never used to take it, I was getting female attention. I was just awkward, I didn't understand it. And growing up, I just thought it must be so cool to have female attention, because I would see everyone else with the female attention, and I was like, this is cool, like they're getting all the attention and I'm not. I felt like a nobody, I felt like a ghost. And then ever since I started doing the Chinese Colombian, I went viral. I managed to get nearly 200,000 followers on TikTok from that one video, and everything was just, I got all this attention, all this female attention, and it got to me. And for a second I thought like, yeah, I'm the man, I'm getting all this attention now, this is what I would have wanted back in the future, like this is sick. And I enjoyed it, and then it got to a point where it just felt so empty. Like compliments, I didn't care about the compliments. Like I just got tired of getting those messages. Like I got tired, and it made me understand that men are thirsty, but women are thirsty as well. So it got to a point where I received like crazy DMs, like people send me emails of like themselves doing crazy stuff, and it got to a point where someone from the outside would see that and be like, this is sick, Brandon, like keep doing it, like you're getting female attention, like it must be so cool to be in your position. In reality it wasn't, because it's all fun and games for the first maybe month or so. I was enjoying it, yeah, I feel like the man, but then after it just got so monotonous, and I didn't like the attention anymore. Like I literally got to a point I didn't like the attention. But what was I doing? Now I was just so focused on what other people thought about it that I kept on trying to go that direction to keep on growing, to please what other people thought was success. Yeah, you're getting a lot of female attention, you're getting a lot of followers, and to me it just felt very artificial. So I was getting followers, I was getting all of this attention, and even if you see my Instagram now, it has grown a lot. But then I remember one thing that really touched me is I saw he's my mentor now, Mario. He was helping people, he was doing coaching, and I said to myself, that's how I started off social media, and that was fulfilling me. When I would get messages of people saying, thank you for this quote, you helped me, that filled me up. Whereas now, getting hundreds of compliments a day didn't. It would frustrate me. And I said, something is wrong here. But deep down, I wanted to keep this sort of like ego, this status. I've got this amount of followers, I've got all these girls. But in reality, it was just empty. And I would see the messages of saying, you've changed my life. And I was like, this is meant to be me. I want to be this. So I had a lot of pride. And now I'm just not really too content with the content that I'm posting, because everything is just thinking about waiting for these things to come to me. I'm just waiting for brands to come to me. I'm just waiting to get these sponsorships. I'm getting spoken to by different brands to promote certain things that I wouldn't normally promote. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm not going to accept these brand deals. I'm not going to accept these sponsorships, because this doesn't sit right with my morals. This doesn't sit right with me. I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to completely change the way my content is going. I hit up Mario and I spoke to him and I got him as my first coach. He coached me, he taught me how to do the things that I was doing, but he helped me how to grow it. He told me how to help people on a digital platform. Ever since I started it, it was a big risk, because when I did start it, I understand that social media, if you're doing one type of content and you do another, that can detrimentally affect your social media. But then I said to myself, what is my intention with the reason that I am posting? Is it to keep other people happy, to have numbers, or do I really want to help people? Do I really want to change lives? Do I really want to help people find their value? In 2021, I wrote a message when I was sleeping here. I was just on this bed and I was just resting, and I just felt super lost. And I said, what is my purpose? My purpose is to help people find their value, to help people find their true worth. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I wrote that down in 2021. I took that decision. He's been coaching me, and then I've managed to do what I'm doing now. I started 2 months ago, and all the messages that I received, the people that their lives are changing, people that have left their habits, people that have been going consistent for 40 days, people that have left their bad habits, people that have attempted suicide, but thanks to the content, their life is changing. That couldn't have given me any more satisfaction than those 100,000 followers, than those 250,000 followers, than all that female attention. It does not matter. This actually gave me genuine satisfaction. So this is what happens when you truly chase and truly become the person that you want to become. Because when I started changing my content, many people had a clash. Many people didn't understand, and many people were laughing about it as well. Because that was who I truly was. I'm a person that I love to help people and I need to help people. But when people don't understand, they think this is a trend. And people try to target you from that angle. Look at this guy, look what he's doing. It has a lashback. But I didn't care, because I said to myself, I'm going to be who I am. So I continued this, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I'm speaking from the camera now. People may talk, people may say anything that they want to say, but at the end of the day, as long as I've helped one person, that satisfies me more than all the messages that I could ever get. So how can you stay true to yourself? Listen to your conscience. It will always guide you to the path that you need to be on. Don't be concerned about the opinion of others. The best thing that helped me was, if they don't respect or they're going to judge me for what I say, is this person really my friend? And if this person isn't really my friend, then why should I care about what I'm going to say? Because it's the truth. If someone doesn't respect the way you think, they're not really your friend. And if they're not your friend, why do you care? And that was one of the best things that happened to me. And till this day, it does happen to me occasionally, where that insecurity does come in occasionally, and I do feel like that. I'm human. Do I feel tired? Do I get overwhelmed? Do I feel like I want to give up? Every single day I get these emotions. But how do I overcome them? You need to overcome negative emotions with positive actions. Positive actions, this is why I train. This is why I help people, because when I help people, I feel fulfilled. Try it. Next time you see someone down the road and they're struggling with their shopping, give them a hand. Well, actually, don't approach them, because in today's world. But if you see someone, say hi. How you been? You see an elderly person, ask them how their day's been, get into conversation. It gives you that satisfaction. For me, is what's giving me my purpose, which is why I will always continue doing what I do, which is why I always post the content that I post, which is why I always upload stories. Because when I receive those messages, it gives me that boost of energy that I need. So being true to yourself is going to give you that freedom, because you are going to offend people along the way. You are going to make people uncomfortable along the way. But as long as you're happy and you don't affect people in a way physically, in a way that you do it with intent, if your intentions are good, it's impossible to keep everyone satisfied. It is impossible, and the more you try, the more unhappy you are. Because I've been there and I know what it's like. So the best thing you can do is just focus on what you want to do and choose your environment wisely. Once you become aware of what you want to do, you need to be around people that are on the same journey as you. When you're on this same journey, your thoughts and your mind can grow, because now everyone's congruent and now everything flourishes. But if you're surrounded by people that don't have the same vision as you, and you express yourself on something or an idea that you want to follow, well, it's not going to go further than your mouth, because when you mention it, the people are not going to reciprocate the same energy, and then you're going to think that you're wrong, or you shouldn't be thinking like that, and you're going to want to change that thought process. So what happens? Now you become on their level and now adapt to them. So it's going to take some time. When you finally adjust yourself and realize this is what I want to do, you come out of that gap and you think for yourself. And you think to yourself, and that time when you're alone is when you truly identify and solidify your thought process and your beliefs. Is this what I really want to follow? If yes, you continue. Once you continue, you will find people along the way that you can flourish your ideas with. It can be anything that you want. You have to stay persistent, find a plan, take action, and repetition. That is the key. That's all you have to do. So that's the best way I could say. Being true to yourself is one of the best things you can do. Also, it is one of the hardest things. If you need help, I can teach you how I create my unbreakable mindset. I give you the blueprint. Message me on Instagram, DM, and watch my stories so you can see that I don't just talk the talk, but I walk the walk. Make sure you leave a comment, like, and subscribe.